now detaining Black citizens in Chicago. For every Black American that got on the internet and this app and refused to talk about what ICE was doing and what is going on in our country, because I don't really care about the Hispanic community because they don't care about us, which is BS in of itself.
Well, hello there. At first, I wasn't going to reply to your video, but then I said, no, everybody deserves to know how the hell did you escape from in front of that car parking lot? Ain't this you? Well, isn't this you? Flip-flopping away from your job to hop on TikTok and criticize Black Americans? Or is this you? Now, I'd never seen you before, but I knew from those braids that you was from the motherland. I don't know if you first, second, third immigrant generation with them roots, and I do not mean you genetics. I mean them braids are straight from the motherland. And then the accent alerted me to something too. Talking shit about Black Americans and then sounding like you're asking a question every time that you speak. I said, oh, she was raised around white folk. That's why she can talk shit about Black Americans like this. And I was right, because I found a video where you were saying Black people who were raised around white people. It's always y'all that were raised around non-Black people who are so quick to dismiss Black Americans, to critique us. You never give us any praise as far as I can see in your video. I scrolled down a couple of months and the majority of your videos are talking about Palestine. In the almost 2 months of your videos, you brought up Black American issues one time, and that was about a 14-year-old boy in Wisconsin. The other time that you mentioned Black people was when you were trying to sell your book for your personal gain, mind you. While your other selling items videos for Palestine, the donations go right to their cause. But let me school you, because obviously you have some type of disconnect about what happens to Black Americans because you didn't grow up with us, nor did you care to understand us. You don't care about Black American sacrifices that allowed you to immigrate to this country. And I know that a lot of y'all have said that we're so tired of hearing about Black American sacrifices for immigration. We lost ancestors because of this. Whole bloodlines eradicated fighting for the rights of everybody. Black people never stand up for our own rights. We do everything for everyone, even Black Lives Matter, civil rights movement. We got nothing. Hispanics have historically fought to be considered white in this country. Said we ain't niggas. Seriously, said we ain't niggas in court. So we shouldn't be treated like it. They come in our neighborhoods and act these race wars, kick us out of our own places, our communities, give us fucking times that we can't be outside like it's a fucking sundown town in some areas. And we have done nothing but embrace the Hispanic community. They get mad when we say don't say the N-word. You also don't understand that it was Black Americans who helped set up anti-ICE protests prior to this scrambling effort now that ICE has been unleashed, prior to the Trump administration. Black Americans have been fighting to protect everyone at the detriment of ourselves. The same immigrants that we helped come over here, Asian, Hispanic, all of them, have huge portions of their population that voted against Black American interests. On your page, you haven't said shit in defense of Black Americans or the genocide that we are going through. No mention of that. No mention about the different methods of eradication this country has been using against us for 400 years. Our low birth rates, our children being born with more deformities, us dying in childbirth, all because of environmental, socioeconomic impacts. Our men locked up in prison. Our children can't get an equal education opportunity. The CIA and the FBI and the government as a whole dropping off drugs and guns in our communities. Are you talking about come for us next? We are first. They never stopped. Yet we still persevered, still put everybody else's shit above our own. And now look. Y'all can take this how you want to take it, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Black Americans fought for immigration rights, which we didn't need because we already here. Even though the immigration laws make it hard for immigrants to come into the country, like Hispanic immigrant, we still did that. We never argued that Hispanics don't have a right to come into the land. But when they started doing it illegally, they put Black Americans at risk. Because this eventually was going to happen if you kept voting for Republicans. But you now want us to go and lay down our lives after our ancestors have already done so, instead of protecting ourselves for an issue we didn't cause. So now we're being punished. Oh, the Hispanics stood with you during Black Lives Matter. When did we protest Black specific issues? We asked for equality for all. Then we go and help you found institutions and movements for your race specific issues. With no mention of Black Americans, y'all use the blueprint of how we protest, how we organize, everything. Every community does. We set the foundation, but you're mad because we don't want to get out there and put our bodies on the line? You're mad because we said we're going to focus on our Black American issues? You don't know what it's like for us to be in this country. Y'all act like we're just sitting here living the highlight. Nothing's going on. Black Americans chilling in our privilege. We're suffering and dying. And you have the nerve to get up here and critique us because we don't talk about the non-Black people that you want us to talk about. Because we want to focus on our own issues, right? But nobody's saying anything to anybody else. Why aren't you talking about Black issues? Why aren't you talking about Black American issues? Nobody is expected to do so except Black Americans. Y'all take us as a fucking joke. And that's why this is happening. Black Americans are the ones who have fought blood, tooth, and nail to prevent what's happening now. We make up less than the Hispanic population in America. But y'all are crawling over to us and blaming us? You're crying tears for them? And then you want to use a Black American struggle of being arrested by ICE, which is not our fault, to rub it in our face? You dislike Black Americans so much that you're walking around with your hair looking like that. We could fix that for you. But no, you'd rather walk around looking like a dandelion and popping straight out of the ground. I'm going easy on you, but why don't you sit down and learn something about Black American history, our struggle, the genocide that we're going through, and then get back to me. Because you're also a hypocrite, because while you're whining about Palestine and all of these genocides that's happening to non-Black American people, you sitting your ass at McDonald's having a meal. Interesting. Because last I checked, McDonald's donates to this genocide of Palestinians that you say you're against. 10 out of 10.
ICE is now detaining Black citizens in Chicago.
Well, hello there. You got some nerve sitting there in those Viking braids, the yellowest, stiffest, most used braiding hair that you could find, fashioned in such a way that I know Black Americans did not do it, because we don't want our hair to give struggle. You got the braids of a white mom who did the best she could from learning off of YouTube. I can tell by your braids, how you talk, how you look, how you dress, that you were raised around white folk, and it was confirmed in one of your videos where you asked, did any other Black people grow up around white people? And then my teacher, when she was reading To Kill a Mockingbird, said nigger. Like I said in your comment section, you don't even sound like you should be saying the N-word. By your silent response of not saying anything to that white teacher, lets me know that you have no affiliation with Black Americans, because we don't stand for that. You sit there ungrateful as fuck criticizing the Black American community while you got a Ghanaian and Lebanese flag in your bio. A Lebanese flag that is responsible for hundreds of thousands of African Black slaves in that country currently. A case is being heard in 2025 about a Black woman who was enslaved in Lebanon. But there you are proudly waving that Arab flag, which makes sense because your whole page is talking about Palestine. All this empathy for the Palestinian people who would call you an abid, meaning nigger or slave, to your face with a quickness, because that's what they do to the Afro-Palestinians there, who are there, by the way, because of slavery mostly. And they're treated like shit. There's no laws to protect them. The Israelis and the Palestinians treat them the same. They've been protesting for years. Instead of conserving your energy and fighting for your African people in these Arabized, colonized countries in Africa where they're raping, killing, offing children, women, and men, instead of criticizing the Black Americans whose country that you reside in, that you were fortunate enough to be able to come to, the land that Native Black Americans built, because after 400 years we are native to the land, with the security and rights afforded to you because of Black American sacrifices. While your people suffer, you somehow have the time to criticize Black Americans when it's the immigrants who 47% of immigrants voted for Trump. But you're mad because we got on here and said we're not doing. What do you want us to do? We did what we were supposed to do. Vote for Kamala. Now, what do you want us to do? Bust into the government buildings and demand that they stop the ICE raid? Or do you want us to just get out there and die? You're so disconnected and uncaring about the Black American genocide that's happening here that you're talking about, we told y'all would be next. Next? Who do you think they've been practicing on for hundreds of years, sweetie? That's why the police force and all these forces even exist, to regulate us Black Americans. I don't know why Black Americans are mostly calm, cool, and collected, because we've been dealing with this forever. It's never stopped. 40% of child sex trafficking victims are Black children, despite the fact that they only make up 9% of the population. Our kids been getting taken in Black vans. They've been taking our children through the adoption system and selling them to non-Black people. They've been poisoning our neighborhoods and killing us that way. We've been dying in childbirth at multiple times the rate of everybody else. Yes, the Hispanic community stopped saying the N-word. They fought us tooth and nail about that and have been for decades. But all of a sudden, they think that it's appropriate to ask Black people to put their bodies on the line to, preserve rights that we already put in place in the first place through everybody else's votes is being taken away. That's not on us. We did what we were supposed to do. Aside from arming up and going against ICE, which apparently is what y'all want us to do, there's nothing else that we can do. The fact is, the people who did not immigrate here legally are at fault for what's happening to Black Americans with ICE. As harsh as that sounds, it's the truth. So what do you want from us, corn husk braids? Would you like $150 so you can get some nice box braids from a Black American who'll do them right? The fact is, you don't deserve to be in our country. You're ungrateful and disrespectful. You're very much digging into the depths of your memory to pull back that time in first grade where a Black American called you an African booty scratcher. And so now you're going to hold on to it for the rest of eternity to throw it up in Black Americans' faces and make it a reason for why you have such disdain for us, when it's only due to us that you have the privileges that you have today. Y'all should be saying, hey, Black people, I know you're going through a genocide. It makes sense for y'all to not be focused on everybody else. I understand, but instead, you're demanding more free labor from us that we've already given you freely. Y'all think that we're selfish and self-centered, but the reality is that it's y'all. Y'all have never fought for Black Americans. We have fought for everybody else. Civil rights, Black Lives Matter, all of that are not nigga issues. We just used our trauma and oppression to jumpstart rights for everyone. And we benefit the least. We don't get no fucking thank you. All we get is y'all's hands out demanding shit from us. Despite the fact that by our very existence, every single day is a living protest. But no acknowledgement of our suffering. You wouldn't go up to a Palestinian with the background full of rubble and say, so why you ain't speaking about Black American issues? Nobody would do that. But you come to us during our genocide that's never stopped. Beg us to do something that y'all are too weak to do. We gave you the blueprint. That's all y'all ever use anyway. No originality. And that's worldwide. We have caused worldwide change when it comes to humanitarian rights because of Black Americans. But you want to critique us? You have absolutely no right to do so. Put up your Cash App so I can find you a Black American to fix whatever you got going on in your head. Till 10 out of fucking 10.
For every Black American that got on the internet and this app and refused to talk about what ICE was doing and what is going on in our country, because I don't really care about the Hispanic community because they don't care about us, which is BS in of itself, but that's a whole nother conversation. We told you that we would be next, right? And y'all didn't listen. And look. So this is a sign for everyone to get off their damn high horses and start caring about what is going on in your communities and in your nation.
Okay, first of all, little girl, you look like and you sound like you about one generation deep in this country, okay? How dare you get up on Beyonce's internet and tell Black America how to act and what the fuck to do in this country? We've been here, done this. Yes, what happened in Chicago was fucked up. But we ain't next. We ain't never been next. We've been first. We've been second. We've been third. We've been fourth. And we're gonna be last. That's how you can tell this little girl don't got no real Black American in her. And she's not a part of us. Because most people that know their history in this country tend to learn from it. Especially Black people. So for you to sit up here and tell us, the elder generation, to get up off our high horses and get out there in them streets is diabolical. Child, if you don't go sit your little gullible ass down somewhere, real Black Americans like me, who has 5 living and breathing generations in this country, born in this country as we speak, and who was the 5th living generation born in this country when I was little, that was still living. We have the driver's licenses. Sit your ass in a passenger seat without a license, or either learn to drive a car with a licensed driver sitting next to you and shut the fuck up. We got this.
What Black person actually said that ICE has nothing to do with them? What Black person actually cheered and clapped? What Black person actually wanted this to happen to the Latino community? Because out of all the posts that I've ever seen, the only thing I've ever heard anyone say is, this is what you voted for. And we're not going out there because we voted against it and we told y'all not to let that bastard off its leash. And you did. So let us go over here and line dance while y'all figure this out, because as soon as they're done with y'all, they're coming over here. In the meantime, we're going to relax because we have done our part generation after generation after generation. And here we were standing in front of the final boss that if we teamed together, we could take him down and get rid of racism, misogyny, the patriarchy, capitalism, all of it. And you looked at us and said we would rather be on his side. And then when all of a sudden everything we warned you about happened, you looked at us and said, where are you at? We were there before this happened when we told you not to open up that gate. So I keep seeing these videos over and over again. Black people laughing. Black people saying it had nothing to do with us. Black people wanted this to happen. Where? Who? Who said that? Who? Who was actually clapping for this? Nobody has ever clapped for this but the MAGA folks. Why are y'all still trying to blame Black people for this? Literally, a man was shot in a conservative school, on a conservative campus, in a conservative, by a conservative, and y'all managed to blame Black people for that, and now you're doing it again. What was Black people going to do? Literally, white people have been out there since day 2, and the shit has not stopped. Black people have been out there for how many decades, how many generations, and the shit still won't go away. So what are y'all expecting Black people to do? Stop posting these videos. You take your behind out there. You go on the front line. You go out there. I bet you won't. I bet you won't. What's happening in America is because of white men. It's not because of black people not marching. It's not because of the Latino community who voted for him. It's because of white men. Redirect your anger. Because of white men.
Life, liberty, victory! But leaked videos from inside Patriot Front revealed that beneath that polished veneer,
good take right there. See high, let's go.
are old-fashioned neo-Nazis.
I don't think people in America understand how angry black people are. And I'm not talking about the trope of black people anger, right? Angry black woman, angry black man. I am talking about angry at the fact that the majority of white people voted 3 times for Donald Trump. The majority of white people have voted for Republicans since the civil rights laws were passed in the 60s. And that has led us directly to where we are right now. I don't think you understand how angry black people are. Just because we play it cool, just because we make jokes and make funny videos, and we do not suppress our black joy, I don't think you understand how angry we are. And just because we have followed black women's lead saying we're going to sit this out, you're not going to see us out in these streets protesting because he wants to unleash the military on us. And you know what he did as a response? He's been sending the military to our homes. He sent them to our homes, our businesses, walking down our streets. He had them dropping out of helicopters in Chicago. And now they just said, oh, they're thinking of sending the 82nd Airborne into Portland because they don't like white people up in Portland either. We saw what he did in Los Angeles. We saw what he's doing, what he's doing in Chicago, Houston, Washington. We see that. And you know what? We're angry. And I don't think the rest of this country, non-black people, understand that. Because it's easy for white Americans to sit back and say, blame everything on your favorite villain, right? Nazi Germany and the H guy. But let me tell you something. Everything Donald Trump and Stephen Miller and Hegseth and the eugenics of RFK, everything they're doing has been done to black people in this country. Not Germany, not under the H guy, not in Germany in World War II. We got 400 years of this happening to us by y'all. See, it is a very convenient excuse to blame everything as a likeness of Nazi Germany because it absolves white Americans from looking at your own granddaddy and grandmama who perpetrated these things against us. And I'm not just talking about 350, 400 years of enslavement, 100 years of Jim Crow, and all that, thousands and thousands of lynchings, all the eugenics, all the forced sterilizations, all of that has been done right here, starving us. All done right here. All the people protest about genocide somewhere on the other side of the world. What do you think happened here? So listen, if we can get through this, part of that truth and reconciliation that I talked about in my other video, there's going to be a carve out, a breakout day, month, year, where we got to talk about, we got to get through our anger because we are angry at y'all.
Let's talk about the thing that too many people still won't. This country has never had one regime. It has had multiple at the same time. We gotta understand that. Power has worked in different ways to different people at the same time. And the one you experience, it's been, as I am learning more increasingly every day, but I am on the late end of this because so many other people see this as lived experience. The one that you experience depends upon the color of your skin. Now, the broad master narrative, the orthodox narrative, the mythological narrative says that we were founded as a republic, that the people had the say, but which people were we the people? At the very moment that white Americans were told they were citizens of a rules-based republic in 1787 or 1788 or 1790, nearly 20% of the population, black people, enslaved or not, lived under a regime that was unmistakably totalitarian. Republican, in a sense, for white people, at least they wanted to tell themselves, totalitarian for black people. That's not hyperbole. That is the right word. Total control, total surveillance, no rights, no legal personhood, no family autonomy, no recourse, no protection. So when we throw around terms like authoritarian or fascism now as if these are new threats, what are we actually describing? Because Black Americans and other people of color have lived with state violence, surveillance, carceral punishment, and exclusion for centuries. The US regime hasn't suddenly become authoritarian. It's simply expanding the reach of its authoritarian tools to more people, more visibly, in ways that white Americans can no longer ignore because now it's making them uncomfortable. And that's where the grieving comes in. White Americans across the political spectrum are waking up to the failure of institutions that they would taught would protect them. And for many, that feels like collapse. But it's not collapse. It's clarity. It's the veil lifting. And that disorientation that those people are feeling, that you might be feeling, that's what Black Americans have lived with for generations. So from the founding, you might get to the 14th Amendment and to decisions like Wong Kim Ark, but then you get Crookshanks, you get Plessy, you get the Chinese Exclusion Act, you get the 19th Amendment that mostly serves white women. And today you get mass incarceration, state-sanctioned violence. This has always been a regime that promised order to some and imposed it violently on others. So if you want to understand this moment, as we are trying to do, really understand it so that it can be useful to us, listen to those who have never known anything but an authoritarian state. The clearest roadmap through this mess isn't found in the Federalist Papers. It's found in the lived and remembered experience of people who have been surviving this for centuries. And that's where I'm finding that the wisdom is. That's where the resistance lives. And that's where we need to go.